Edward,
Good morning.
where is everyone?
What's up, Mav?
Don't get
Hey,
my
Ed.
headphones on. That's a gross mustache.
No, I didn't think anybody would see me around right now.
That
Our
is
times have
nasty.
changed.
Yeah,
I did shave my head today, though.
Looks
By the
good.
way. Yeah,
nice.
I
A
needed
haircut.
I haven't cut
a
mine in
haircut.
while.
You need a haircut. That's why you can't get any girls to take you out on dates.
How is
He
everyone?
doesn't have a mustache.
Man, I'm gonna have to shave this off midstream or whatever here.
You look good. This goes to both Mav and Cullin. I'd like you to individually answer it. What is it like coaching Ed Goddard? Where'd Mav go?
Does Matt want to go first? Or,
I don't know what happened there. I took off Wi-Fi. I went away. What happened?
Your face is there. We go.
Now, there we go. All right. Well, I guess I'm the oldest, so I guess I'll start, right? It's kind of hard being able to be a coach and watch student athletes or coach them at the same time with what's going on. And recruiting, it's different because most of the states have closed down recruiting in terms of having competitions this spring, and you're seeing that happen. A lot of overseas competitions be shut down too. So I guess the best thing I can do from my job is we can't quote unquote coach. It's all voluntarily.
You question, but go on.
I don't miss the question. I'm just hanging out, man. I'm making calls.
No, I was asking what it's like to coach Ed.
Oh, what it's like to coach Edward. Oh, Jesus.
What are his positives? What are his negatives? What are your best memories?
Well, his one positive that I love about him is he'll work. His second positive is he brings a positive attitude every day. His negatives, we've got to learn some patience, and we've got to learn some racing tactics. He's a little dull in the racing tactics, but he is getting sharper. Another positive, he has great hair, good flow. I think that's something it's very known on the national stage. I might be semi-jealous, but it looks good. I'll give him credit where credit is due.
What's under that hat right now, Mav?
I shaved my head today, Morgan. I needed a haircut. I feel like Mick Byrne. I'm getting old, you know?
Can't imagine.
How about you, Morgan? How's everything changed between different coaches over your years?
Well, things changing between different coaches. I mean, I've been coached by Nick for like 6 years now, so that's been pretty cool. Obviously, I had Sean Williams Sweat before that. Overall, like, it wasn't a massive change. To be honest, they're both, I would say, relatively hands-off, both similar training. Mick's like, Sean is a lot more intense than Mick. Mick's pretty chill. Yeah, it's like getting coached by Mick is pretty fun. You know, it's a very like two-sided relationship. It's a good like conversation when he's coaching me and I'm his athlete. So it's really fun. And yeah, I mean, that's why I stayed with him, obviously, because I really liked what we had going and I believe in it. So yeah.
And is that going forward then? Is there any regulations on staying with a college coach for a set number of years after, or?
I don't believe so. I think you can stay with them for as long as you like.
No, you can stay with him as long as you want. Yeah.
Yeah, because who do you play with after uni, Mav? You stay with Mick, or do you?
Well, I stayed with Mick for 1 year, and then I went with another coach 1 year, and then I came back another year with Mick.
Yeah.
Year and a half at the end. So you can stay with college coaches, and some of them, you know, I don't know if they take money. I mean, Mick was never about taking money from him. He just loves the sport so much he wants to coach people, and yeah, it was very, very much what Morgan said is his style for sure.
Yeah. Do you find it easy going between coaches, or like, do you reckon it's the coach who makes the athlete, or do you think it's just the work over a certain amount of years?
I think we can all attest to it. I think it's about taking your system and using the strengths in your system and developing the weaknesses or areas of lack of strength in a system. But it is a two-way relationship. I think it has to be. Our sport is unique because it's an individual aspect of it. And the more you work with somebody, I think the more you kind of understand them as an athlete. And
For sure.
it brings out the best in people, usually.
Yeah. How about you, Cullin? Going from Boston, from Wisconsin, was it a big change, changing unis?
Yeah, I would say it was a pretty big jump in the sense of like the size of the schools. Boston's a smaller school. Programs are a little bit, different. The facilities are different, and I had a great coach in Mick, and I had a great coach in Coach Lane, and they were two very different people. Bruce was very relaxed. Not saying that Mick wasn't, but he was like every day was kind of up in the air. Mid workout, you don't know what's coming next. It was like extremely loose, and the workouts were very different. But I think that connects back to what Matt was talking about with, is it the athlete or is it the coach that, makes the athlete? And I think it's exactly a two-way street where, there has to be that baseline of, is the athlete willing to put in the work? Is the athlete willing to put in the effort? And if the effort's there, I think that with a coach that is willing and effective at managing, no matter the style, you're going to have a great outcome. So yeah.
For sure. So where do you get your coaching philosophies from? Is it a combination of?
Yeah, I would say it's definitely a combination. I had a really good analogy brought up to me not too long ago about how when you're a coach, it's like walking down the aisle at a supermarket, and you can look to past experiences and other coaches, and you can take the good, you take what you like, and things that you maybe didn't agree with or you saw a different perspective, and you can leave that on the shelf. So I think that's a good approach, and I think that's how I look to build upon my coaching career and stuff like that. So
Yeah. Same with you, Matt?
Yeah, I certainly think so. I mean, I think a lot of it, that's a good way to look at it from a total view. It's, as Colin alluded to, there's different things that each school has in terms of facilities. Some schools, Madison's not really particularly hilly area, so there's only a couple places where you could do hills. Facilities, indoor tracks, outdoor tracks, having trails, not having trails. I think having areas that have marked off, trails that have mile markers and doing things like that. I mean, so they're all different in a sense, and you kind of have to mold your system around what's available to you at a reasonable rate. And I think that I've been fortunate that places that I have been at this point in my career, that they've all had pretty good spots to train, facilities to use. So you try to maximize those as best you can with what you philosophically think is right.
For sure. That makes sense. All right, there. I mean, I guess like anywhere you are adds that sort of sense of things you can take from your environment to make your training work as well. How about coming up this year with no set races? Do you guys have something in the back of your mind where you think this is going to be the first race of the season, or like how do you periodize this set of training when there's no races and say like the Olympics coming up next year?
Well, I would say in terms of the first part of that question, like I have no idea when races will be again. Like even the ones scheduled in the fall, like I don't know. We'll see. So I guess that means that training right now isn't focused on specific races at all. I mean, obviously like 2021 Olympics, hopefully that happens, and that's like what I'm training for. But And everything before that is oriented not around races but around other things. And so, like for me, two of the main things that I've been wanting to work on for a long time, which I now can, is getting my mileage up. I want to be up like running like 90 miles a week plus. So I'm gonna try pretty much just like work up super slow to that, which is something like haven't been able to do before. So I haven't really been able to hit like what I wanted to hit. And then the other one for me is like adding in or progressing more in my strength work. I haven't really been able to hit that like proper weights before because it's just so hard to do when you're like stressing your body through training as well and already like pretty much at the limits. So yeah, like those are kind of like two things that I've wanted to work on for a long time, and now I have a chance to work on them. And so that's kind of how I'm like thinking about like how my training is going to be, like working on things that I think that like going forward in the future will be like really good for me in kind of like a long-term sense if I can get on top of those things right now.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
I think. Well, I'm not training for anything. I'm not training for the 2021 Olympics like Morgan. So I'll speak to.
Master scans.
Yeah, I'll speak to the old farts. No, I'm. With our athletes, it's really case by case. Some people are coming off injury. I think some people were in a great spot. So like Morgan, you're trying to figure out ways to utilize that fitness. I think some people just kind of needed to get back going. So it's really about what the individuals is. I mean, it's still very far away for us to shut down, take a break, and get ready for cross country in the fall. Who knows with certain countries if they're, because we have a lot of international athletes at Iona, if there's a chance in maybe mid-June, end of June, we're kind of doing it case by case, but some of them have access to tracks right now. Some of them don't. So maybe time trials are kind of on your own, and it's really about you can still just go out and run, and you can still get stronger that way. And some of our athletes are kind of in that same situation that Morgan is just build your mileage up and get ready for that. And at some point we'll shut it down. We'll take a mental and physical break and get ready for the fall. I think that hopefully we can be back to a normal schedule by then and have some normalcy in our lives in terms of athletics. But we're in a unique and challenging time, and we just kind of all have to take it day by day and week by week, and it seems like it's getting better.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cullin?
I was just
full marathon?
Nah, I mean, other than maybe a road 5K or 10K, I got nothing on the boat. But I do think it's, what Matt was alluding to is like, or in addition to, it's a great time to work on those habits of, living the lifestyle. There aren't a lot of distractions right now with work. School's a little bit lighter. This is a great time to practice, whether it's adding a few new stretches or, strides at the end of the run or, making sure you're getting into a good sleeping pattern. This is a great time to work on those, little details that can kind of get lost when you have the stress of school and being, at appointments or on class on time.
Yeah, for sure. And so taking it a step back as well, I saw a tweet by Carl Merber. He was talking about the biggest power moves in running, and he was alluding to not checking your GPS watch when it beeps, so not looking down at your split was the biggest power move I could think of. So can anyone beat that? Because the best I came up with was doing a workout in joggers when everyone was in flats.
I have one, and like I know this not because I did it, but because it was used on me so many times. And this was by a guy called Joe Hardy. The other boys would know. But he would do this thing, and like he would almost pretend like he wasn't doing it on purpose, like it was just a subconscious thing. But like mid rep in a workout, he would like this would happen in cross country when we're in a pack, and like just like mid rep when we're like going hard and puffing, he would like sometimes just like reach out to like a branch like next to us and like grab a leaf or something like that and just like play around with that as if to kind of say like, yeah, this is like so easy for me. Like I'm just like not even trying right now. And it was like I can tell you as someone who would like be running behind him and like if I'm hurting, you know, it was so frustrating. And like I don't even know why. And the other thing he would do is like he would look back a lot. He would do this when he raced as well, which probably not the best thing to do in a race. But one time we did just a tempo, just the two of us, and he dropped me really bad on it. And he kept looking back at me. Like every 100 meters, he would take a look back at me. So yeah, that's a pretty big power move as well. So, yeah, those would get dropped on me, and they were super frustrating.
Power move. I have to go way back, but I think that we would always we would do tempos, and we would have the leaf game, especially in the fall for a cross country team, and we would whoever caught the leaf would keep score. So you catch, you know, if you catch 3 leaves, you get 3 points, and we would always do that. So it was kind of a way of showing off that you're not hurting in a tempo, but you know the reality is you were definitely hurting. You were just trying to show your athleticism. And we would do that all the time in the fall. It was a great time it was a great way to break up such a hard workout, and the rail trail that we did it on, it was perfect for it, especially in the fall.
I think talking right after a rep, if you're doing a track session, pretty tough one. As soon as you finish, just being like, oh, like good rep, or just talking about, you know, a conversation you had going earlier, if you can get that out without suffocating. I think that's a little bit of a flex there.
Yeah, I think, talking in a tempo as well. I know Jamie D gets mad at John Jack when John Jack would bring out some random shit just mid rep.
I've seen him sing in the middle of a tempo. I was like, we should go harder.
I don't know what goes through his head. What about best like most memorable runner you've trained with, or like guy you've enjoyed training with the most?
Easy, it's a Maverick Darling.
I need more. You got to explain more than that.
Maverick was just a great, wise, experienced figure for me to train with through a time in my life, which was a time of, I guess those change. It was a time when I was getting a lot better and I was having to face new challenges. And then I had this experienced old dog to bring me along and just always keep stuff light and fun at the same time as well. So, we shared a room at Peyton Jordan when I dropped my 5K PB by about 30 seconds. So we made some great memories together.
He ran incredible there. I would say I had some great teammates, and so it's hard to pick, but I'll do the one that I always roomed with, and we're still very good friends, and he moved to New York right after I moved to New York. Reed Connor he would make a 70-minute run go by like in 7 minutes with the stories he would tell or things he'd come up with in his head. And he'd have some very vulgar and just crazy ideas. And it was always like, what is he really thinking? Where does he come up with this stuff? So we had some great conversations, and you share enough hotel rooms with him and you learn a lot about somebody.
Hey, I would say mine is probably Malachi. And the story behind that is my freshman year, I had a class conflict 2 days a week, the same time he did. And earlier, like right in the beginning of fall, he snapped and like screamed at some of the freshmen, and I was so scared of him. And I was like, yeah, I don't not want to be around this dude. He was, really grumpy that week, and I was scared. And Mick was like, yeah, you have to run Malachi. And I was like, oh, just, kill me now. But Malachi's a great guy. And actually it was awesome. We talked about everything under the sun, basketball to life. And it just became, he became that really good example of, how I should be living my life as a runner, approach to things. I really enjoyed, we weren't necessarily working out together. I mean, he was kicking my butt, but just day-to-day runs and being in the locker room with him, he's just a great guy to train with. So
For sure. How about best running memory across the years? Could be GPS cross country.
That's a tough one, man. That's such a tough question, dude.
Or just something that sticks out.
I mean, like for me, like the most cliched answer, which is like not to say that it's not my actual answer, is like winning NCAA cross in Madison, because that's just like always going to be the thing that is going to be so special. Just like my 5th year, a race that like we'd been leading up to for so long, and that I always wanted to win, doing it in front of the home crowd, and just like an amazing, perfect day for it. Everything just came together and clicked that day. So yeah, that's always going to be hard to beat, I think.
Yeah.
I would say the crowd went insane when you won. I think that was something I remember. I've never heard a crowd get that loud at a cross country meet ever.
Yeah,
So
that's
I thought that was I would say normally you would think saying the national championship would be our most fond memory, winning that, but I think it was the lead up to it. But I will go to one specific instance, which was the 2011 Big Ten championship, and it was at Illinois, and we went 1 through 3, and then 5 and 6. And the one person that was 4th place, I mean, it was Hassan Mead, who's gone on to represent the U.S. at the World Championships and Olympics, and he's the one that broke us up. And that was the defining moment of like, we can really do this. And it was also the shortest celebration of a Big Ten championship ever, because Mick had never like yelled at anybody afterwards, but he came flying to the finish line and he was like, "You guys get all your warm clothes on." He was so worried we were going to get sick. And he did not want that to happen, because he knew what we had going was really on point. So I'd go that memory.
Yeah.
For me, it's going to be regionals 2017 cross country. It was the first of the 3 awful Buffalo, snowy, muddy races. It was my 5th year. Our goal was to get out of the region. We had a really good team to do it that year. And our second runner, our number 2 guy, ended up not racing because he had a stress fracture. And the guys still kind of, we were still at our mission, and we still went at that, 2nd place the best we could. We ended up getting 6th. It was really close. I think it was something like 6 points separated us from 3rd without, Brett. And it just, for everybody going to go out there, and it was just mayhem, and still run that well, place, 6th. It meant a lot. Last cross country race, it just felt like really good. And the whole season leading up to it too was it was really enjoyable. So that's probably mine.
For sure. Yeah. And any pre-race superstitions? Anything that has to happen?
I like to have no superstitions. I like to try to be as relaxed as possible before a race.
I think I would tie my left shoe before my right shoe, but that's about it. I think that was the only thing.
That's pretty chill.
Yeah, I don't have anything. I think having those things can just add to stressing me out. So
it's funny because when I ask other people, you get a massive array of different answers from people who have to do, like Josh Phillips shaving his legs 2 days before, not the day before, and like Jack O'Leary or Charlie Donovan, their kit lays, like all the way up to that. So it's interesting to see what you get.
The only one that I have is I don't like wearing my race kit or like my race uniform apart from race day. That's like the only one that I have that's similar. Like that's like kind of that's like the one thing that's kind of sacred for me, is like only wearing that on race day.
Yeah, it's taking everything, the warm-ups, the kit, the jersey, the shorts, like you just take it and you put it aside. You set everything aside so nobody can touch that. It's I agree with that statement.
I'm sorry for swimming at the beach in the Iron shorts.
Yeah, you were wearing them, and I saw that the other day. That's the first thing I thought. I didn't even care what you did. I looked right at your shorts, and I was like, "Why are you doing this to me? You're killing me."
Who was it? Who was it that was going to put peanut butter on his uniform to get the sticker out?
I think that was one of our girls. It's like that.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I don't need to get my stickers out.
Olive oil, not peanut butter.
That's
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah.
How about celebrity runner crush when you were growing up?
Oh no.
Mine was this one's funny because like I tell him this every time I see him, which like isn't a lot, but like it was actually Chris Derrick. So, but he was in college. Like I was like, I don't know. I find college running, like when I was growing up, it was kind of more entertaining to watch. I don't know if that's the right word, but it was cool. And so I really liked Chris Derrick. And yeah, now I tell him that all the time, and he just responds, "Yeah, I'm sorry, I disappointed you with my pro career." So it's pretty funny.
I would say Matt Tegenkamp, who ran for the Badgers. He's a very smart guy, very down to earth, but obviously an incredible runner. So I was always, Chris Zielinski was obviously the prize boy of the program, but I always just had like a fond memory of Matt Tegenkamp and what he would say when he talked to you. Great guy.
Yeah, mine was that Wisconsin, those teams basically. But Evan Jager, I always kind of looked up to in the sense because he was that young guy with Tegenkamp and Chris Zielinski. And I don't know, it was always like because he was the young guy, the underdog, somebody I kind of always looked to mimic. So
Is mixed training very different to what was at Wisconsin under Jerry? Or does he bring his own style, or did he keep some of the stuff that was working?
He definitely would have brought his own style.
Yeah, he's got his own style. I think he's been very good about adapting over the years to certain teams and certain individuals. Like the way when Morgan was a sophomore, you were 7th or 8th place across, and you guys were 8th as a team. Malachi was 25th or 26th. They train very differently, but still some same components that we would do. So it's always adapted, and I think he's been good about adapting what he wants to do to where the athletes are at that time, and not forcing that mature process.
Yeah.
I'm always impressed with how much mixed year-to-year training does change, but it achieves the same objectives. But yeah, he definitely changes it. I mean, I have some very, I think because I've been with him for so long, I have some very staple things that I do, but a lot of stuff can change.
What kind of stable stuff would you
My
say?
most staple thing is just doing hills pretty much. Like I just do a lot of hills, and that's during like winter and spring a lot. I mean, during cross country, I think like most programs in the country, the training is very standardized in terms of you're going to have a long run every week and then a tempo most weeks, and then some form of interval session. He changes like what the interval sessions are a lot, I think, from year to year, but that kind of general structure is always there. But then during the other parts of the year, like things can change a lot more, I would say.
Yeah. And what's it like as an assistant coach working under a head coach? Is it easy when, like, do you get much say of changing workouts, or does everything sort of go smoothly? Or
I mean, I think that we're usually on the same ballpark area. I think it's minor specifics that usually are changed. I mean, I think that Joe Pienta, who I work for now, is really good about listening and possibly applying if he thinks it's a good idea. I certainly think it's a two-way street. But if there's something that we can't come on a decision, or I'm left and he's right, and he's got to make a decision. I think that's his job, and he goes with his gut and his experience. And I certainly think we've done a pretty good job of managing that as a group.
Yeah, no, I don't know, as an athlete, you can see there's a lot of conversation behind the workouts and stuff with the sort of details you guys be able to explain them to us in. So I think that works. I'm pretty good with that.
Are you?
Am I? My Zoom chat's about to kick me off. I think that's a good time to wrap it up. So thanks so much, guys, for being part of it.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah,
Thanks for having us, buddy.
buddy.
Stay safe, guys.
Yeah, look
Yeah,
forward to
you as
catching
well.
up soon, wherever that may be.
Bye.
Bye.